The original Zam dancer Emperor Peter Senzagaze representing for the dance of fraternity and the people they have seen. One leg in the water, another one at the fire. Just want you to subscribe to the YouTube channel MD90. Enjoy some interviews right there.
Original billionaire. Hey. I'm a billionaire. Number ule mfana tingwebe. Seek first the kingdom.
Well, Winter Kabimba has weighed in on a number of issues and he has given some advice to the current government based off the history in the past of the previous governments, as both MMD and the Patriotic Front. And he writes, as quoted by Emmanuel Mumba, and says, Winter Kabimba, a leadership united against its own people. The president appears to be the president appears oblivious to the naked truth. That's Winter Kabimba's article, according to Emmanuel Wamba. The president appears oblivious to the naked truth that our local government system in its current form exists as it exists today cannot deliver meaningful services or development to the people without major reform. It is true that society and its attendant institutions are dynamic. This often means that the expected dynamism should deliver society from its dark ages so that we attain the progress as in the case of Europe. And then it goes to say, quote the day when that publication was made, 1,800 local government representatives, councillors gathered. That's on Monday. The meeting that President Hakainde Hichilema held at Mulungushi Conference Center in Lusaka at the invitation of President Hakainde Hichilema. The delegates represented a diversity of political parties, mainly from the Patriotic Front and the ruling United Party for National Development, UPND. Following the outcome of the 2021 general elections, as local government practitioners regarded the meeting as the most important engagement between the president and the local representative of the people. And I am sure many shared many expectations. Anyone interested in the state of our townships, cities, we will grieve about their degeneration of service delivery and our appalling conditions in which the majority of our people live in. The collapse of the local government system goes as far back as 1991, when the country reverted to multi-party politics, the political system that had been the battle cry for majority of Zambians after the 17 years of one-party rule. So pretty much he's simply saying people are expecting a lot from that meeting that the president had with the local councillors on Monday. But opinion polls keep on flooding in. So Zambia decides tonight they had tweeted President Hakainde Hichilema against Hari Kalawa, against Makebi Zulu, and then Fred Membe, and then Mundubide. And then the statistics started coming out. As according to Emmanuel Mwamba's platform, he put up those statistics, and then Chief Etari was quick to critique, and he says, "I'm a politics, I'm a fake polls. Yeah, chabe. Keep cheating each other. At least you all agree that Hakainde Hichilema is winning. So no, I'm a really sure." So simply saying, even your own opinion polls are reflecting that Hakainde Hichilema is going to win. So the distribution of the votes was like out of the 45,000 people that had voted in Emmanuel Mwamba's 5,026 people that had voted in that particular opinion poll, Hakainde Hichilema got 23,083, which is 50 plus 1.27. And then followed by Brian Mundubile with 12,232. So that's according to Emmanuel Mwamba's opinion poll, and that's what Chief Etari is referring to. Say, if in your own opinion polls on your own platform shows that Hakainde Hichilema is winning, you might as well accept it now, not after the August elections. You come and cry to the public. That's according to Chief Etari. And then this is the breakdown according to Emmanuel Mwamba. The final results of the opinion poll. and it says Hakainde Hichilema gets 50 plus 1, and then Brian Mundwa gets 27.17, Makebi Zulu 17.09, and then Harika 4.48. So those are his phone calls. He puts out the same statistics. It seems like with the phone calls, Harika had won, and then online voting, Makebi Zulu had won. So I don't know what that means, but anyway, it's all over the place. But overall, it looks like Hakainde Hichilema has won. But according to what Emmanuel Mumba has posted here, it says his online voting, it was Makebi Zulu won by 43.5, and then the phone calls that he received, that's Harry Kalaba got 44.2, and then the Facebook opinion poll, Hakainde Hichilema won by 50 plus 1, pretty much. And then, that's the distribution of the votes, the way they had been carried out in that opinion poll, and as you can see, the outcome. And then someone on the comment section was that even after blocking all United Party for National Development UPND supporters from your page, Hakainde Hichilema still wins, and then he laughs it off to say a number of UPND supporters were complaining to say Emmanuel Mumba blocked them from his page. I think I remember even some individual that advocates for the UPND complaining to say a number of people are approaching him to say, Oliver Shala, not Oliver Shala, the other one, I've forgotten his name, but I've done a number of articles about him here. He complained that people are coming to him to say Emmanuel Mumba was blocking people, and then so that's what I'm saying. And even if you blocked a number of people, the results show that Hakainde Hichilema had won. And then background versus social media, there's that conversation that's ongoing to say some politicians are just online now, not on the ground. And then it says 14.7 million Zambians have internet, ignore social media at your own peril. So simply saying that the times have changed. Even in rural areas, I'm sure you've come across a number of vlogs of Zambians vlogging from their villages. So if you assume that disregarding social media is of no use in this election, it will cost you at your own peril. What is Nebas Mumba warns desperate politicians against juju. That's Pastor Nebas Mumba there running a call, simply saying those that are interested in getting into juju as we head into the elections have been warned. Or some desperate, this is according to the Zambia Daily Mail, Nebas Mumba warns desperate politicians against juju. Some desperate politicians are seeking supernatural powers or juju from witch doctors to win the August general elections. The new Nation Party president, Nebas Mumba, has said. Dr. Nebas Mumba has, however, warned that power obtained through witchcraft is unsustainable. He said politicians that resort to witchcraft for power and those that who are vulgar should not be entertained in Zambian political space as it is a Christian nation. Dr. Nebas Mumba added that citizens should not allow criminals to become political leaders. Speaking when he was addressing his party membership in Choma, before holding a town hall meeting, Dr. Nebas Mumba said that he is aware that some politicians are courting witch doctors to help them win in the forthcoming polls, the elections. So he just want them to say that will not work. Zambia is a Christian nation. And pretty much that's what the statement coming from Nebas Mumba warning with regard to that. He had another statement which Emmanuel Mumba responded to say Nebas Mumba says a Fred member was arrested for insulting and provoking and embarrassing President Hakainde Hichilema. That's according to Emmanuel Mumba. Simply saying, as you may be aware, a Fred member was in jail, I think, for 48 hours, if not less than that. But so that's what he's referring to, say, because he was arrested over the statement that he had issued over the burial of Edgar Chagalungu and everything around that. He had made allegations against the sitting president Hakainde Hichilema, and that's where that statement comes from. And that's Nebas Mumba on his countrywide tour as he navigates and in the build-up. What is I'm pretty sure you remember that drug case where a young lady from the Copper Belt was arrested, probably known as the boss lady for trafficking in drugs. There was a verdict. So court update: a 36-year-old Kitwe-based woman, Khadija Mingel, will spend 18 months in prison for trafficking in 500 grams of cocaine. So that trafficking case, there was a verdict. So it's predicted, considering she's been in prison, I think, a couple of months. So adding the months that she's been in prison, plus the ones that she's been convicted on, so it comes to people are saying she should be out of prison by October. So there's been a back and forth with people simply saying, no, that's too little. But you cannot blame the court. The court bases its verdict on if someone is remorseful and things like that. So she simply had good lawyers in this case. So yeah, but there's actually there's an appeal that has been filed because of that. There was a public outcry to say people are just changing the case for the girl because she's pretty. So they say it's pretty privilege, and obviously coming from a alleged wealthy family, and that's why she's getting those favors. But on the other argument, it's all about if the state was able to prove otherwise, she should have been convicted for a longer period. And yeah, so that's breaking news. Court convicts couple, a female drug boss. The Lusaka Magistrate Court has convicted the beautiful, you can even see the article, there's a beautiful Commonwealth-based female drug queen, Khadija Mogo, for cocaine trafficking charges. So her beauty seems to be a bone of contention here. She's all over the news. There in real time, say jail for boss lady. That's what she was known online as. So people are saying it's because of her beauty, and that's why that is. So some details that came in says Khadija, a 36-year-old businesswoman and a socialist of Kitwe, has been found guilty for trafficking in 500 grams of cocaine. And Lusaka Magistrate Court, Peter Mungala, found that the prosecution proved beyond reasonable doubt that Miguel was found in possession and was in control of 25 pallets of cocaine weighing in at 500 grams in a Mark X at a mall. The magistrate said the prosecution proved that she trafficked in drugs on May 14th, 2025 in Kitwe, and Mugala consequently convicted the accused of the offense, whose minimum mandatory sentence is a year imprisonment and not exceeding 25 years. So it seems like the judge was within. So if it's a minimum a year, I can see why people are arguing. So probably you should have just 18 months. That's more than a year, actually. That's beyond 12 months. So yeah. Anyway, there's that fight. People are simply saying no, she's been released because of her beauty. There's the appeal. So the National Prosecution Authority to appeal against a sentence imposed on a Quito-based woman. So there's a lady being referred to say there's an appeal that has been filed in against her, obviously, after the public outcry. But going in by that verdict, it's between a year and 25 years. So if she gets above a year, it's within that limit. So it is what it is. That's the advantage of having a good lawyer. Yeah, so she's all over the news, pretty much. And her beauty is what is dominating the conversation. They're forgetting everything else. And then Ivo Mom jailed, obviously, for attempting to bribe an officer in exchange for their defiler's husband's freedom, obviously. News Diggers carries that we have over 20 days of fuel stocks, says ERB amid Middle East tensions. So says for the next 20 days, Zambia's fuel prices, we don't expect any changes unless after the 20 days. That's when those changes are likely to happen if things don't stabilize where we get our oil from. And then Mpezeni slams Mundivier. There is nothing new that he's promising the people. That's in the Zambia Daily Mail. And then all goes sour at Zamfresh, those Chinese people that were filmed pretty much abusing a Zambian lady who's alleged to be an employer who had stolen something from their company. And yeah, pretty much that's the news, ladies and gentlemen. Have a beautiful day.